very good morning to Seyshab and all my classmates. For today's presentation, my group will be presenting the topic Introduction to Discourse Analysis. However, we are gonna introduce ourselves first. So my name is Dania Muhammad Razi, and my metric number is 056141.
And I'm Azilin binti Kamis, and my metric numbers is 055977.
Hi everyone, my name is Nurshahida binti Ramli and my metric number is 056342.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Alia Salika binti Azwa, and my metric number is 055825.
Okay, so for the first part, so these are the lessons that will be covered in today's presentation. Okay, so for my part, I'm going to be explaining the introduction. Okay, so language as saying, doing, and being. Okay, so what is language for? Okay, many people think that language exists so that we can say things in the sense of communicating information. But actually, there are many other functions of language that we use in our daily life. Next slide. Okay, the first one is saying. So language allowed us to inform each other about something, and we give and get information by using language in our lives. Okay, but however, saying things in language, it comes with doing and being things. Okay, so the next one is doing. So language allowed us to engage in actions and activities. We do things with our language. For example, we give commands, we make promises, we argue over things, and we pray to God using language. Okay, next slide. Okay, the last one is being. So, language allowed us to express different socially significant identities. We can speak and become other people at different times and places. For example, right now, I am talking in a certain way to become a good presenter in today's tutorial. And another example is we talk in a certain way to our parents to ensure that we are a good daughter or son. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is an example of a situation. Okay, you are shopping in a store and a stranger approached you and said, "Hi, how are you?" But you can seem to recall this person. Maybe this person is trying to flirt with you, or maybe this person is doing a social experiment and to see how people react. And maybe this person is your long lost friend, but you can seem to recall who and what is this person doing. Okay, next. Okay, that is why saying, doing, and being, these three have important connections in language. And to fully understand anything that is happening in the situation, you need to know who is saying it and what the person saying is trying to do. Who we are and what we are doing when we say things matter. Okay, I think that's all for my part. Okay, my part is really simple and quick. So if you have any question, you can ask it in the end of the presentation. Now I'm going to pass the presentation to Azlin. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dania. So I'm going to present the topic language and practices. So if you can't hear me, you just say the comment because I am afraid that my connection will go bad in a second. So one of the best ways to see something that we have come to take too much for granted, like language, is to look at an example of it that makes it strange again. So today I have one example to show my classmate. So this is all right. So I think Heaven already know what the card this is. So this is from the game Yu-Gi-Oh. So I wanted to you to read the statement that I had there, and I want to ask you guys: do you understand what it means? You understand every word, right, as an English speaker, but you don't understand what does it mean exactly. So, as usual, you will go to the website to search for the definition of it. And this will really come to. It doesn't matter if it's long or it doesn't matter if it's short, you still cannot understand what the card meant. So you ask yourself, why do I understand it? Why can't I understand it? Is it because it's hard to understand with just by getting the definition? And also understanding a definition only tells us the range of meaning a word has. It's like it doesn't tell you how to use the word in a context. It's like morphology. And so how are you going to understand what the card meant? So the only thing you're going to have to do is You have to watch the anime, you have to watch the video, you need to learn how the other play, and you need to have a mentor. So you ask yourself, why do I need to do all of those things just to understand what the card meant? It is because the language on the card get its meaning from the game, from the rules, and the way the players play the game. In a sense, all languages get its meaning from a game. Though we don't typically use from the word game, we use the more arcane words such as practice in activities like taking part in a committee meeting, a political debate, small talk among neighbors, a lecture. So this is what we call as a practice. But they are not actually a literal game, but they are conducted according to a certain rules or convention. It's like how game is composed by rules to determine who is winning and who is losing. But such a practices like this, they have these rules and convention is to determine who act appropriately, who act normally, or who not. So this book will argue and we will learn that all languages like Yu-Gi-Oh languages get its meaning from the games or practices within which it is used. I think that is all for my part and I will pass it to Shahida. Thank you.
Okay, sorry, can I just interject a little bit?
Oh yeah, yes, okay.
Okay, so Azlin, I think you mentioned about conventions just now, and you
Yes.
mentioned about talking part in a committee meeting, political debate. So before it runs out from my mind, I want to talk about political debate since you are from Johor. Okay, current issue.
Yes.
So, were you involved? Meaning, did you participate or listen to any political debates recently?
I have not actually, so I much to stray away from politics.
Okay.
But sometimes I do stumble into like Instagram posts, mostly from Sheikh Sadiq, probably the most popular one in from Muar. So Sheikh
Ah,
Sadiq has a lot to debate about political.
okay.
So I I seen his video like one or two.
Okay. Because it passed by your Instagram feed.
Yes.
Okay. So you didn't look for it; it came to you.
Yeah, correct. It
Okay.
comes to search for me.
All right. So there are certain rules or conventions for all of these things. So political debate, there are some rules and conventions too. So I think we can add this to our latest edition because in the digital era now, so I don't think you go to ceramah anymore, right?
No.
So it's all online. So the politicians, especially the younger generation who know to use IT, they use a lot of social media, right? As compared to the older generation where they have small, they call it ceramah kelompok, I think, small gatherings at the house. So they call all the neighbors, 15 people, 20 people, and listen to the ceramah. Whereby I think this is a little bit by bit fading away. All right. Okay. Okay. Just I just wanted to relate it with the current issue, and since you're from Johor. All right.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right. Okay. So please continue. Our next presenter.
All right. Thank you, Azlin. So today I am going to present about language and politics. Lynn, next. So whenever we heard the word politics, things that are going to comes in our mind is just like Sir said just now, about political debate or election, presidential election, voting, and so on. But if we delve into language aspect and into discourse, okay, Ali, next. We actually there are like some meanings, deeper meaning about politics. So politics also can mean that any situation where the distribution of social goods is at stake in a society. So first of all, we have to know what social good is. What is the meaning of social good? So social good is actually what some people in a society want and value, or in short, something that is worth having. For example, higher status, money, power, and so on. But as you can see there, I write that is at stake. But at stake here doesn't mean like it is the social good is jeopardized or it's at risk. Rather, the social good is be can be debatable or in question. People can argue about it. And also bear in mind that the social good vary individually and practices. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same social good for every individual and practice. Also, usually in a society, there will be a majority and minority group with their own social good. For example, in society, everyone will accept this one things, and another subgroup or the minority will stand with their social good. Okay, next. Okay, for example, this is a relatable example. For example, in school, many students wanted to be accepted as good student rather than a bad students. We rarely heard about student wanted to be a bad student. So, accepted as a good student is for majority of people their social good. Okay, so we rarely heard about people wanted to their social good be a bad student. But in some cases, some people wanted to interpret the term good student differently. And this shows that the social good can change following the rules. If we change the interpretation of good student, so does the social good. The social good will change how we interpret the term good student. So in this case, how we use the language and more generally how you say, do, and be just like Dania said earlier, and how people respond to you are deeply consequential to you and for your social good. Okay, next, Ali. Okay, for example, like I said, some people will interpret the term good student differently, like, right? So this is some of the interpretation. For example, like some student will think that student that follow the teacher's instruction without questioning anything, they are being a good student. But some people will think that student that challenge the teachers, questioning their credibility, are being innovative or being a good student. So there are many interpretation of good student. There's just not one interpretation. Okay, next. This is the second example, which is marriage. So marriage is one of the common practices in our society nowadays. We heard the word marriage everywhere. So actually, there are formal and informal laws about how married people thought and act. So formal, maybe when we want to get married, we have to register under a religious constitution, for example, church or pejabat agama. And for informal laws, maybe like uh, perception about how married people should talk and act. But we heard sometimes that some people will say that gay people or people from the LGBT community, they have no right to use the language of marriage due to the laws or conventions. Because we can see that nowadays, many people doesn't seem to accept the fact that LGBT is part of our community. Okay, so they are the minority. So some people actually fight over whether such marriage should be recognized in law or in church. So this scenario actually shows that gay people's social goods, which is they want to be able to use the language of marriage, just like a person, just like couple like from different gender, their social good is jeopardized, is at risk. So okay, next. Okay, so at the end, I wanted to conclude that actually language and politics is related to each other, because when we use language, um, social goods and their distribution are always at stake, and we can use language to build and destroy social good. Build here means that you can stand for your social good, for example, what you want and what you value, and also you can use language to destroy the social good, like maybe to deprive others social goods. And also, the most important thing is that using language, we can build viewpoints about how we think social goods are or should be distributed in society or among social and cultural groups. That's all from me. I will pass the presentation to Alia.
Thank you, Shahida. So next, let's move on to the last topics for today's presentation, which are forms of discourse analysis. So there are two forms of discourse analysis. First, we have descriptive. The goal of descriptive is to describe how language works in order to understand and gain deep explanations of how and why does their language work that way. For example, if you wanted to do a study on the discourse between a teacher and a student because you wanted to understand why do they use polite language and not in casual tone, then it's what we call as descriptive. It only gives description and doesn't tackle any problems relating to the discourse. Contrary to descriptive, another form of discourse is critical, as in critical discourse analysis or CDA. Their goal is to speak to and intervene in social or political issues, problems, and controversies in the world. So people who take descriptive approach thinks that a critical approach is unscientific because the critical discourse analyst is swayed by his or her passion or interest in a certain discourse for the intervening in some problems in the world. In contrast, the people who takes the critical approach thinks that purely descriptive analysis is an evasion of social and political responsibility. This is because they did not contribute to the scientific progress of the world. So next, linguistic approach to discourse analysis. So according to G, linguistic approach in his book looks at meaning as an integration of ways of saying, informing, doing, action, and being identity, just like what Dania has explained in her parts, and grammar as a set of tools to bring about integration. To take an example, let's take a look at the sentence in the next slide. So for the example, let's read together. Hornworms sure vary a lot in how well they grow. So this sentence is in a vernacular style of language. It is used when we want to talk as an everyday person and not as a specialist of any kind, such as when we talk about hormones with our friends, with our family. So this sentence expresses an opinion based on our own observation. In this case, the hornworm. It also to show surprise and entice someone to grow hornworm. So the identity that it expresses is that the writer of the sentence is not any kind of specialist. It talks about hornworms, a cute green caterpillar with little yellow horns, which is a part of saying, informing. So next, let's take a look at another example. So the next sentence, hornworms' growth exhibits a significant amount of variation. So this sentence is in a specialist style of language, one we can associate with biology or biologists. It expresses one's identity as a specialist. It means the writer studies the hormones growth. So it means that it is a researcher. So for the doing, it is making a claim based on statistical sets of significance that are owned by the discipline of biology and not any one person, including the writer. So the sentence is about hormone growth and not about the hormone themselves, like what example one has explained or portrayed. This is part of what makes this language is specialist and not everyday person, like an example one. So next. So for the last example, let's read it together. Hormone growth sure exhibits a significant amount of variation. So when you read this sentence, don't you think that the sentence is a bit odd and funny? It is because it mixes everyday language with special language. It means it makes the example for example one and example two. So the reason why it is odd is sentence one express emotion about the observation, but in sentence two it is the voice of science and reason, and it's supposed to be dispassionate and it is the voice of reason. This is the rules of the game of science, just like what Azli has explained in part about the language and practices. So I think that's all from my part. So next, I'll pass it back to Danya for the conclusion.
Okay, so we have come to the end of our presentation. Okay, to conclude, as discourse analysis, it is our responsibility to study it, even though we have to deal with judgment and consequences in this world. And we must analyze discourse, since language is part of our lives and how we build and sustain our world, cultures, and institutions. I think that's all from our group. Thank you, and if you have any question, you can ask it now.
Any questions from your friends?
Hello, Assalamualaikum. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
we can hear
Fadila.
you.
Uh,
It's not, I want to ask, can Shaida explain more on social goods because I'm quite confused about that. Is it like kind of a law? I mean, the set of law of certain things, or what?
Yeah, I think
Um,
Shahida, because the word goods means like
Yes,
things. So what
yes.
is it really?
okay, all right. So based on what I read, so actually social good is, I think, can you give to the slide? Okay, as I said here, it is something that some people in a society want and value. Within the society, there must be something, for example, status or power or money that they want, that they value. So people are actually fighting for it. Like some people will think that um, this status is their social good compared to power. Some people will think that power is social good. So that's why the distribution of the social good or something that we value is at stake. Because, for example, like the example in about the marriage, um, there are two groups, like everyone and subgroup, or majority and minority. The majority would think that being accepted, LGBT couple from LGBT community cannot be accepted um into the society. But then LGBT is, as we all know, is a minority, so they are trying to fight for their right, which is to be accepted within the society. That's why I said that the acceptance on a variety of different terms is not about just about material things like power, money, and so on, but it's also about being accepted in a way, like in different terms. I hope that I answer your question.
Oh, it's like what the society want, like
Yeah, they
what
value that.
is it? Oh, okay, okay. Thank
Yes.
you.
Okay.
Shahida, goods here, what other word can we use instead of goods?
Um, I think something that is worth having, something that we
So it
fight
is
for.
the meaning of good here means like the opposite of bad, right? Is the value.
Yes.
It's not goods
Yes.
in economics where goods is product
No.
or things. It is
Yes.
the value, what people in society think highly of, which is positive, right?
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
okay, so like you use the example of LGBT. So
Mm-hmm.
in Malaysia, uh, is the gay marriage good or not good?
Actually, there are terms like winners and losers in the society, or everyone and subgroup, minority and majority. So LGBT is a minority or losers because they can't be accepted within the society. So they are trying to fight for it. So that's why their social good is at stake, or something that they value is at stake, because everyone or the majority of the society are depriving their right.
Mhm. So I think it's clear now to everyone, right? So Fadlin, what do you get from the explanation just now?
I understand from what Shaida said. It's like the what the society needs, like for in my understanding, like for example, um uh like a society that works in the library. I don't know whether this like connect or not.
Just say it.
The society that lives in the like for example librarian, they want people to like stay silent in the library, so that's what they want, like that's what I understand what she does. And for for people that come to the library, they what they want is they want that uh they will do their job properly in the silent silent situation. I know situation, yeah, silent, yes, yeah, I think.
Oh,
Uh,
I think you are going to one of the slides. I think Shahida, can you show the slide where you have the good
yeah.
student,
Okay.
the interpretation? So maybe I think it will
All
be
right.
clearer. Yeah. Can you explain just a little bit more
Okay.
to yeah.
Sure, sir. Alright. So actually, in the book, G stated that school is one of the relatable practices that we can relate, instead of any marriage and so on. So actually, majority of us, we rarely heard about a student wanted to be a bad student, right? They wanted to be a good student. Okay, so that's why I say that majority of people will set their social good as to be accepted as a good student. But to be able to be called as a good student, there are many interpretations. There's just not one interpretation. So that's why I say that some people are trying to interpret the good student differently. They will think that, okay, this student, they never question their teachers. They just take everything that the teachers gave. So they are being a good student because they never disobey the teachers. But then some people, they say that good student is student that being innovative, they are challenging the teachers, asking their credibility and so on. So that's why the interpretation is varied. Yeah.
Okay, can I ask a question to everyone in the class? Everyone, can you write down in the chat room, what is your definition of a good student? Is it like the one given there, like always raising the hand, follow with the rules, or those who are innovative or who don't follow the rules? Can everyone just type your own definition of a good student? I just want to see in the chat room. Even the presenters, you can type also. What is your definition of a good student? How would, if you are a teacher, what would be a good student to you? So just a short one, okay. Somebody who follows the rules, somebody who uh, does all the homework, okay. Farzana says someone who does academically well, present in the class, obeys the teacher, follows the rule and respect other classmates, good manners, send homework on time. Okay, this one, yeah, I think school is a very important thing for most teachers. One who can differentiate between learning and time and playing time. Okay, someone who engages with the material. Hmm. Okay, so most of what you have written here is, I think you said the traditional kind of definition of a good student, right? But if we were in America or in the West, do they have these characteristics based on what you observe in on TV or in movies? Are there students like this in America? You can use your mic if you want. Can I ask? Okay, one of the boys, Najmi.
Yes,
Okay, what do you think in America? Good student.
I would say some, but not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
So when you watch TV, right, or movies, how are the students behaving in class in America?
there were, well, in movies or in TV, there was some, a lot of time wreak havoc and do what they want.
Mm-hmm. It's opposite of what we have in Malaysia, right?
Hmm.
And the students are more lively. They question a lot, right?
Yes.
And they're not afraid of the teacher,
Yeah.
correct? As compared to Malaysia, right?
Mm.
So imagine,
They
yeah. Okay, who wanted to say? Azlin? Yeah.
they are more like friends rather than just
Yeah.
as we good and teacher. But I do think it's quite a good relationship, meaning that we are not scared
Yes.
to like disagree with our teachers. So we have more like more space for us to actually engage with
Mm-hmm.
our teachers.
Yeah. One thing I noticed in America, yeah, they can just ask a question anytime and the teacher won't say anything. But here in Malaysia, you have to wait your turn, raise your hand, right? And sometimes the teachers do not like if you ask so many questions. Has any one of you found this situation previously in class? I mean, in school? Azlin, how about in your school? Could you
Uh,
ask questions a lot to the teacher?
uh, to only my favorite teacher.
Okay.
Because I'm not brave enough to ask like I don't know because they will actually call us belagak pandai if we
Ah,
question the teacher.
okay.
Because
Yeah.
yeah,
And yeah, I do notice even in university when during my university days, if I were to ask so many questions, my friends wouldn't like me because they would say, "Oh, you are actually making us lag behind in terms of the syllabus. So let the lecturer finish the syllabus. Otherwise, we won't be able to finish." So the main thing is to finish the syllabus. I don't know what this is the syllabus, and even if you do finish the syllabus, whether you understand or not, that's another issue, right? So here I just want to highlight the definition is different for different people, right? So here like the good student or the gay marriage. And okay, yeah. Since Azlin, you are in my screen now. When you say, okay, this is I'm coming to another issue. Saya bangsa Johor. TMJ likes to say this, right? Okay, your interpretation. And now we're coming to identity now. I think most of you realize that there was this term identity. So when you say saya bangsa Johor, what do you mean by bangsa Johor?
oh my. Okay. I'm just going to, I know that people actually really hate Bangsa Johor, but I am a proud Bangsa Johorian because I do believe someone who are born in Johor and someone who live in Johor will. I mean, like Dania also born in Muar, but she's not Johorian. She's Negeri
Oh,
Sembilan.
okay, but what is the bangsa Johor, the definition based on
I
your
do believe
understanding?
my understanding is someone who born and live for the rest of their life in Johor.
No, I think there is more to that actually, because
There's more to that.
more to that.
Mm,
What does TMJ mean when he says bangsa Johor is, special, different than bangsa what other states? There must
different.
be.
It must be. Oh my.
Okay, I want you to
How?
think first. Think first.
Wait. Sorry.
Ah, yeah.
There's another Johorian here. I
Okay.
need to
Can you call
ask them.
him or her?
So it's Mira and also Salihin.
Okay, call one of them.
Salihin or uh Salihin also from Muar and Mira is from Tangkak, I believe.
Okay, Salihin first, maybe, and then after I want to hear the others because this is important identity, and we can expand it to other things too. So Salihin first. Salihin, can you unmute yourself?
Why me?
Because you're from Johor. Your understanding of Johor, Bangsa Johor. What is your understanding?
Hello, sir.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
Bang Hijau.
Yes.
Tak lah, I don't know lah. I don't even care lah masa Johor ke apa.
Okay, that's one good explanation. There are people who don't care. Okay, how about the other one? You named another person, Azlin?
Mira. Mira, are you here?
Calling for Mira. Mira, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Mira, please.
My mic's
Okay, can you just type? Can be short form, no need to be in full sentences. So everyone, please focus on Amira's answer, because I want you to also share your thoughts about bangsa. Maybe we can expand it later on to other bangsa. But now we focus on Johor.
I don't know actually.
Okay, yeah. I understand you guys because we seldom think about this identity. We have our identity actually. Like let's say, okay, Azlin, her identity from other friends, maybe we could say she is outgoing, likes to laugh a lot, jovial, extrovert. Am I right, Azlin?
You can say that.
Okay, so that's her identity, right? Johor, they have a different kind of identity, different characteristics. So I think what TMJ, those who love to eat pisang goreng with sambal kicap, that's one of the characteristics maybe. So Bangsa Johor, I think TMJ wants to highlight the fact that they are very proud of their heritage, and they are proud of their royalty. And for the Malays, they're proud being a Malay majority, I don't know, state or whatever. So they have these different distinctions. But for other states, maybe it's different. And I think for Negeri Sembilan, they don't care less. I remember a friend of mine from Negeri Sembilan. He met another friend from Negeri Sembilan. They don't speak Negeri with each other. But, okay, I'm sorry to use this example. If you meet a Kelantanese who meets another Kelantanese, do you think they would use their own dialect or formal language?
Yes, they will use their dialect mostly.
Shahida, okay, yeah.
Because I've met Kelantanese people, and usually they will, even if they didn't use their language dialect, they will be like, I can hear the dialect.
Uh-huh. So once they know you're from that particular state, they will change their slang straight away, right? Okay, so how about, okay, Afrika says Terengganu. Is it true for Terengganu people? Do you find this so? Shahida, you're not from Terengganu, right?
Yes, sir. I think Terengganu also the same like Kelantanese.
Okay.
Because I have experience during my diploma. One of my roommate is Ipoh. And then we four of us are two Kelantanese and two Terengganoians. And my friend which is from Ipoh can speak Terengganu dialect well because we in the room just speak using our dialect, and then
Okay.
she's like she can know and she can speak like us after 2 years become our roommate.
Okay. So do the presenters agree with this? Since you are not from Terengganu or Kelantan, do you all agree?
Yes. Why do we also Terengganu and Kelantanese? If they met each other, they all like going switch, even though they speak a different dialect, but they can understand each other.
Yeah, true. Amni Shafika, I use Kelantanese dialect with my Kelantanese friends only, but since I have been away from Kelantan, whenever I speak Kelantanese dialect, the sound is weird. Okay, yeah. Sometimes you lose your dialect or your slang. Just to share with you my experience, I was born in Terengganu, but I was raised in KL. My parents are from Terengganu, so I know the Terengganu dialect. However, my slang or my dialect is not like the pure Terengganu because I lived in KL a lot. So yeah, I think it's just like you, Amni, because when you don't practice, you tend to lose it a little bit. Yeah, your Ta'amboh is not like the Ta'amboh of the pure Terengganu people. Or Ikang is, the G is missing slightly, or yeah, like the Tokse is different. All right. So this is about identity, everyone. So actually, I think even this particular presentation, although it's just one chapter, it's a lot where we need to digest and dissect, right? It's not enough to do it in one hour. However, I think the introduction is just a brief, what can we say, overview of what we are going to learn. So later on, we're going to study deeper in each of these aspects. So some of the things that you mentioned was about the rules and convention, right? I think that was, Azlin, you started with rules and convention of the Yu-Gi-Oh, right? And then,
Yes, sir.
yeah. So if you notice, the convention of this particular presentation, when you started, what did you start with?
We started with greetings.
And then?
And then we introduce ourselves.
Okay, I want to stop there. Why do you need to introduce yourself?
Because it is the convention and rules of a lecture time.
Yes. So for me, okay, I'm more of a functionalist. I'll go for the function rather than, convention, because the function to introduce is when you don't know that person, right? But now all of you know each other. You've been together for 6 semesters now, right? So you don't need to introduce yourself, okay? However, you cannot sort of deviate from the convention. So you are used to it. So this is part of discourse. So we can notice in discourse there's conventions due to could be tradition due to the Shaida is the norm like what that particular situation wants you. All right. So we are in a class. That's why you need to do an interact. So actually, you're like just presenting in the classroom in Uniza, but here in Google Meet, right? So because that's the convention, and then Dania, you mentioned about who, what, why was it? Dania, can we go to you? In one of the slides was what is being who is saying, right? Can you go before that? One more, one more. Okay, that's the who, what, and why was it? Dania,
Yes,
which one
yes,
is it?
yes. It's, it's and these two slide. No,
Okay,
sorry.
okay. So three important connections in language: who is saying it, what the person saying it is trying to do, and who we are and what we are doing when we say things better. So actually, this is a lot. Actually, who is saying? So when I am talking, I'm the teacher or lecturer. Of course, there is a different degree of maybe you could say status here. You as the student, there's a sort of respect between student and lecturer. But unlike in America, for them, teacher or student is the same, right? There's no segregation. But in Asia, it's normally like that. Who is saying, what the person is saying or trying to do, and who we are and what we are doing when we say things. So this is actually the gist of discourse actually. So we are analyzing all these ingredients into one. So we are not segregating them into bits and pieces. So each part of what we say, every sentence, every word, every utterance, every even we say oh has a meaning, right? So when you fall down, you say right? Is it a word? Is it a full word?
No, it is just a sound, I think.
Okay, it's a
Yeah.
sound, right? However, although it's just a-ish or a-ish, right? It does have a meaning, right?
Yeah.
And we can interpret the meaning of it. So that is we can study that as discourse, right? So it's a lot actually, and I don't want to make you more confused. Uh, Earlier you were talking about the descriptive part, critical part, etc. All right, so let's just sum up with somebody uh, who has not spoken. Dania, can you choose somebody among your friends to open their mics and just tell what he or she has got from this presentation?
Okay, so it's
This is
my
somebody.
time. Let me
Yeah.
choose someone.
Yes. Now you are the teacher now. I give you the power.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we should call Sakina, Nurul Sakina.
Sakina.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Okay, Nur Sakina, can you just give us a brief summary of what you have understood during this presentation?
Mm, okay. Um, I think it's fascinating how I can see the relationship between politics and in discourse analysis, how it protects social. I understand social goods as social values that needs to be appreciated um, to govern a certain, whether cultural values or family values, community values. That's one of the things that really stuck with me from the whole presentation. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's all from me. Thank
Okay.
you.
I think we have time for at least one more. Okay, now Sakina, your turn. Choose somebody else among the guys.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
Uh, um, I would like to call upon Arfan Ehsan. Paan? Apan? Apan? Paan? Apan?
Siapa?
Okay. Arfan, Ehsan. Okay. So please, just say whatever you want to say regarding our topic today. In short, what have you gained? Please unmute yourself, Arfan. Arfan, are you there? We can't hear you. Okay. He wants to put on his tudung. Oh, pity. Your mic is not working. You cannot unmute. Are you using your earphones? If you're using your earphones, can you just take out your earphone from the plug there? Unplug your earphone and try. Still cannot. Okay. Okay. Never mind. So please everyone remember he has to speak in the next tutorial. Okay. Remember that. Okay. Okay. It's your laptop. Okay. Never mind. So okay. Thank you everyone.